So welcome to today's lesson on the distributive property of multiplication. Now the word distribute simply means to divide into shares. I want you to take a look at this group of people. They're working at a food distribution center and they're giving out food into shares. This is how they're distributing their food. The distributive property of multiplication is sometimes called the break-apart strategy. You take a large amount and you break it apart, like this array. This array has a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 rows with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns, or 5 in each row. I would break it apart, and then what I'm doing is pretending this part does not exist. We're going to focus on just this part of the array, which is the factors for this part of the array are 4 and 3. So the multiplication number sentence for this part is 4 times 3 equals 12. Now, let's pretend that I'm taking the same array and I'm moving my square across. Now focus on this part of the array. This part of the array has 1, 2, 3, 4 in each 4 rows and 2 in each row. My factors are 4 and 2. The multiplication number sentence for this part of the array is 4 times 2 equals 8. Okay, keep that in mind. So no matter how I break apart my array, on this part, the left side, it's 4 times 3 equals 12, and the equation for the other side is 4 times 2 equals 8. So now I take those two multiplication number sentences and I add them together. I add my answers together. My answers of 12 and my answer of 8. So 12 plus 8 equals 20. And that's my final answer, 20. One more time. So this array has 1, 2, 3, 4 rows with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in each row. So since 4 times 3 is 12 and 4 times 2 is 8, 12 plus 8 is 20. So 4 times 5 is 20. So let's use some Thanksgiving types of arrays to show our understanding. Here I see 1 row, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. I also see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in each row. Now, I know I'm working with a factor of 7 and a factor of 5. 5 times 7. But I'm going to use the break-apart strategy or the distributive property to show my understanding. So, I'm going to break it apart into an easier number that I can work with. Let's say I break it apart this way. And your lines don't have to be perfectly straight. It's perfectly fine. But most importantly, let's focus on the array on this side. Okay, so here I have still 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. And the amount in each row is 2. So 2 is my second factor on this side of the equation. 5 times 2 equals 10. So focusing on the right side of the array, I now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total columns. Remember, I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. So this side of the array is now factors 5 and 5. So that's 5 times 5 equals 25. If you count every single one of these turkeys in this part of the array on the right side, you will get a total of 25. So let's take those two answers that I just got. 10 from this number, this multiplication equation. Remember, this is the left side of the array that I broke apart. and then 25 from the right side of the equation. That's 10 plus 25. 5 plus 0, that's 5. 2 plus 1, that's 3. So that's 35. So now I take that all the way back to my original factors that I started with. 5 times 7 equals 35. I also want you to notice something else. Let's erase it all. Now, you can choose to break apart the array in either with horizontal lines going this way or vertical lines going this way. It doesn't matter how you break it apart. The most important thing is that you get the answer correct. Now, when we consider, let's say we consider the amount in each row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? Now, if I break it apart, no matter how I break it apart, let's say I break it apart this way. What we're essentially doing is taking the number 7 and we're breaking it apart into 3 plus 4. Do you see that? On this side, there's 3, and on this side, there's a total of 4. I know it starts with 4, 5, 6, 7 right here, but it's really 1, 2, 3, 4. So 3 plus 4 is 7. That's how I'm breaking it apart. So when I consider the 3 here, I'm really doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. 5 times 3. I broke apart the 7, so it's essentially 5 times 3 plus 5 times 4. The 5 remains the same for the amount of rows on this side of the array, but now the amount in each is 4. So that's where my 4 and my 3 come from. But when I add those together, 3 plus 4, that would give me an answer of 7. Okay? So sometimes you might see the break apart strategy or the distributive property written like this. 5 times 3 plus 4. Right? And what that really means is that you're going to multiply whatever is inside the parentheses. Remember, these are called parentheses. You're going to multiply whatever is inside the parentheses by 5. So it will be 5 times 3. And then plus 5 times 4. Okay, so the answer you get for 5 times 3, which is 15, and the answer you get for 5 times 4, which is 20, if I add those together, do I get the same answer as 5 times 7? Considering that 3 plus 4 is 7? Let's see. 15 is my answer for 5 times 3. 20 is my answer for 5 times 4 or 4 times 5. Add those together and it's like math magic. You do get 35. So the break apart strategy can be looked at in 2 or more different ways. It can be looked at breaking apart the array into 2 numbers that when you add them together you still get the same number, like 3 and 4. Can you think of some other ways that I can break apart the number 7? Think about some ways that I can break apart the number 7. Did you say 2 and 5? We did that earlier. Very good. What if I tried 6 and 1? Would that work? Absolutely, it would work. Alright, let's try to erase all of that and continue on to the next one. So remember, I can look at it a different way. I can also say, breaking apart the number 5, breaking apart the number 5, I can break it apart to 2 plus 3. Or I can break apart the number 5 to 4 plus 1 or 1 plus 4. That means I would have to break it. Let me erase and show you. That means I would have to break, let's say I break it apart to 5. I break the 5 apart into 2 plus 3. That would be 1, 2. And 1, 2, 3. So instead of having a 5, I'm having a 3 on this side, a 2 on this side, but look at this. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in each row remains the same. So we're looking at this side to be 2 times 7, and this side would be 3 times 7. I wonder if I would still get the same answer. Well, 2 times 7 is 14. 3 times 7 is 21. Let's see. You remember the answer I'm supposed to get? Remember, it's 35. Good job. So let's add 14 plus 21. 4 plus 1, that's 5. 2 plus 1, that's 3. Like it's math magic. 35. Again, every time, no matter how I break apart my array, I will still get 35. So let's go ahead and go through the other problems. Ooh, this is corn. Sometimes during Thanksgiving, we enjoy a good corn on the cob. You figure out how you might want to break this apart. Let's first count the total in each row. Well, count the total amount of rows of corn we see first. There's 1, 2, 3 rows. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 in each row, or 9 columns. So I know that my factors are 9 and 3. So it's 3 times 9 is what I'm looking for. But let's break it apart. 9 is a odd number, so I can't break it apart evenly. So maybe if I just go with 4, or I can go with 2 again. No matter how you break it apart, it will be totally fine. Let's break it apart right here. So I hope you noticed by now that I break it apart this way, this side of the array has 3 in each row and 4 this time in each row. So that's 3 rows and 4 in each row, right? 3 times 4 equals, you guessed it, 12. Okay, now let's look on the right side of the array. Here we have, and let's just erase just to make sure that it's not too confusing because we counted the original part of the array. Here we go with counting. We still have 1, 2, 3 rows. That didn't change because we didn't break apart the rows. We broke apart the columns. So we still have 3 rows, but now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A total of 5 in each row. My factors are 3 and 5. So in this part of the array, my multiplication number sentence is 3 times 5. 3 times 5 is equal to 15. Let's add up the answers we get. So that's 12 plus 15, and that should give me the answer for 3 times 9. 5 plus 2, that's 7. 1 plus 1, that's 2. 27. So 3 times 9 equals 27. Now, take it another step. Notice the, let's change color a little bit. Notice that the 4 and the 5, so, wait, this is the 4, and the 5 factors. When I do add those two together, 4 plus 5, that also gives me the total that is right here, which is 9. 4 plus 5 equals 9. So, in actuality, I'm still working on breaking apart the 9 into 4 plus 5. Alright, I hope that makes sense. Let's move on to our next array. Now this array would be something that you would see in Thanksgiving. Maybe you're covering your food, but this is a huge array. Let's go ahead and count the amount of rows that we see and the amount of columns as well. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 columns, or 8 in each row. So my factors are 6 and 8. So my multiplication sentence is 6 times 8. And if I don't know that answer, what I'm going to do is split apart my array into numbers that I can work with easy. So I have the choice. I can split my array in using a horizontal line where I split it in half, this going this way. Or maybe I would choose to use a vertical line instead. And my vertical line would go this way. I would choose to split it in half either way. That way, whatever is on one side of my array would be the same answer on the other side. So, your choice. Doesn't matter. Either way, your answer will still be the same. So let's try splitting it this way, which means I'm splitting the 8 into 4 plus 4. Okay? Within parentheses, and then 6 times 4 plus 6 times 4. Notice my factor here is 6, so this part of the array is 6 times, the left part of the array is 6 times 4. The right part of the array is also 6 times 4. Why? Even though I know I have the 5, 6, 7, 8 here, we really are working with 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 in each row, or 4 columns, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rows. So on both sides of the equation, we're working with 6 times 4, and on this side of the equation, we're also working with 6 times 4. Do you know the answer for 6 times 4? Well, that is 24. 6 times 4 plus 6 times 4 is 24 plus 24, and the answer to that is 48. So I take this all the way back to my original factors. 6 times 8 is 48. And it's like math magic. Once again, let's go ahead and erase all of this. And what I'm going to show you, what I'm going to show you is that even if I choose to split, maybe some of you choose to split this particular array into using a horizontal line instead of a vertical line. And if we used a horizontal line instead of a vertical line, I would rather cut it this way. That way, on one side of my equation will be equal to the other side of, well, not my equation, but my array will be equal on both sides. So here I have 1, 2, 3 rows in the top part of my array. And I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my multiplication number sentence, because my factors are 3 and 8, is 3 times 8 on this side of the array. 3 times 8 is 24 once again. And then 1, 2, 3. I really didn't have to do this all over again because I can clearly see that both sides are exactly the same. So there we go again. 8 as my one of my factors and 3 is my other factor. And so my multiplication sentence down here would be 3 times 8 equals 24. Again, we're adding 24 plus 24. Still getting the same answer as 48. Can't escape it. Same answer. So 6 times 8 is 48. Let's try one more. Here we have delicious pies. Hopefully during Thanksgiving you would get a chance to eat a delicious pie. Let's count the rows. 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. How many are in each row? Well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in each row. Perfect. So now my factors are 4 and 7, so that's 4 times 7. Don't know what the answer is quite yet, but I'm going to take this opportunity to split my array apart into halves. Oops, went too far back. Split my array apart like so. Okay, now that I split my array apart, what are my factors on each side? Well, on this side, my factor is 2 times 7, which is 14. Also on this side of my array, my factors are 2 times 7, which is also 14. That makes it easy to add. So 14 plus 14, 4 plus 4, that's 2, that's 8, 2, 1 plus 1, that's 2, that's a total of 28. So going back to my original factor, 4 times 7 or 7 times 4, my answer or my product is 28. There you have it, my friends. That's the break apart strategy. Remember, we can choose to, if we have a large number to work with, we can choose to break it apart or break this apart. I could have broken this apart by 3 plus 4. Or in this case, I chose to break apart the 4 instead. So the 4 was 2 plus 2. So I was working with 2 plus 2 times 7. So that's 7 times 2 plus 7 times 2. The answer you get for each is 14 plus 14. That answer is 28. Hope that makes sense, my friends. And if you have any other questions, any other concerns, be sure to try my worksheet that will be attached to this for extra practice. Thank you for joining me on this video. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.